Typically feel like I'm covered in dog hair, but today it's cat hair because apparently Shelby likes to sit over here and I did not know that. And it's all over my pants now. Hello, welcome. I have a problem and I feel like this is a way to make me be accountable to do this here. These are all my book of the month books that are unread at the current moment as of November 17th, 2024. I stacked them all up. They're kind of separated by a year. And I feel like if I make a comprehensive list of everything I have to read, I will be a little bit more likely to actually get around to putting out my book of the month backlog videos. So this is an updated list. In my very first book of the month backlog, I did share everything that was on my book of the month backlog since then. Granted, that was about 2 years ago now. So, and it ended with this stack over here is what's remaining from that. So everything else is everything I've gotten since then. I'm not gonna go into synopses of all these books. I am gonna go with why I have these picks. If I remember some of them, I'm pretty sure I don't even remember. But like of what kind of enticed me to pick that one. And again, I'm just trying to make a list so that maybe I'm a little bit more accountable. So the first ones we're gonna go over here are my 2021 holdovers, which is kind of embarrassing at this point because it's almost the end of 2024, but I have 56 Days by Catherine Ryan Howard, and I picked this one because it seemed a little bit more of, it gave me kind of like Riley Sager vibes, and Riley Sager is an author I really like, and it kind of mentions the COVID-19 pandemic, and it was published about a year afterwards, and I feel like I get why people don't like COVID being mentioned in books, but I think I don't mind it because it is like a very real thing that happened, and eventually these books are going to be considered classics, you know, the ones that become really popular. Even if they're not, they're going to be considered actual, like, I mean, like it's going to talk about history one day, and that's crazy. Like in 100 years they're going to look back at the COVID-19 pandemic as a very big historical event, which is kind of crazy, but that's kind of why I ended up picking up this one. I'm kind of embarrassed that I haven't picked it up yet, but here we are. The other 2021 book I have is Razor Blade Tears by S.A. Cosby. I picked this one because it was the book of the year finalist and it seemed the most intriguing. This one has been literally on and off my monthly TBRs for about a year at this point, and you know, it's currently on my autumn 2024 TBR, so hopefully I should be able to get this one knocked off pretty soon. Next, we're going to delve into the 2022 holdovers I have, which honestly isn't that bad compared to some of them. There's only 3, and I'm kind of impressed with that. I have August 22's picks, which was Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney, or Feeney, I'm not sure how to say that actually. But I kind of picked this one because of the cover. It kind of has this rocky beach. Sometimes, you know, we get like those coastal prompts, or it's just like seems like, I don't know, the cover kind of vibes with isolated setting, and I feel like sometimes that is, you know, a common prompt. That's kind of why I picked this one. It just really, the cover is what really intrigued me onto this one. And then I have October of 22's pick, which is The Family Game. I picked this one again based off the cover. I just like the colors on the cover. I kind of liked the neon pink with the blue and the house here, which this is going to come into play in another book of the month backlog because I already have this set aside for something. But this one, I mean, it has like a game, and it kind of reminded me of, I read a book around the same time called The Christmas Murder Game, and it kind of had the same vibes. I really enjoyed that one, so I thought I would probably enjoy this one as well. And then I have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, and again, this one has been on and off my TBR since the beginning of 2023. This was the book of the year pick for 2022, so that's why I picked it up, because it is, and I heard so many good reviews. I didn't realize though, like when I was flipping through this originally, that like it actually has kind of small print, and I'm not sure if I necessarily am vibing with that because I don't really like tiny print. Shelby, stop moving the camera, ma'am. It doesn't matter how cute you look down there. You can't move my camera. If I could show you guys right now without messing up the whole camera setup, I would. girlfriend. She's trying to look cute and innocent. I picked this one just because it was the book of your finest. It is on my autumn 2024 TBR, so I should hopefully be getting to this one soon because at this point it's kind of embarrassing how long it's been there. That's like the ones that are like further away. I've actually been like trying to read down my 21s and 22s. 23s are a different story. That's this whole stack here that's off camera. So the first one I have on here is by Kate Alex Marshall, is What Lies in the Woods. I've heard a lot of good things about this one, which is kind of what prompted me to pick it up. And it honestly mentions sending a killer to prison. This one mentions sending a killer to prison, and it kind of, I've heard this is based off a actual true crime story. Obviously, names of blah 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 have been changed, but the inspiration is from an actual true crime story, and I'm kind of a true crime, I guess I don't, enthusiast. I don't really know if you want the term I want to use. I do watch a lot of true crime. So I've been avoiding spoilers for what case it actually is. So I've been really curious to read it and see if I can actually solve which case it is. Next I have the writing retreat by Julia Bartz. I picked up this one simply because it was called The Writing Retreat and it sounded intriguing for that reason alone. Also, I kind of like the cover with the gray, with the green. I feel like I don't actually have too many books that are gray. Like black and white, sure, but like a gray, actually, I feel like there's not too many that are out there like that. Next one was March of 23's picks, which was the London Seance Society. This is also on my autumn 2024 TBR. I picked this one up simply because of the author, Sarah Penner. I read her The Lost Apothecary. I got it from Book of the Month as well, and absolutely adored it. So I thought I would pick up the next book they had on there by her. And I really do like these like floral details. And also this is a historical fiction one, which I've been trying to get more into, is historical fiction, because I don't really like, I read a lot of genres, guys, and historical fiction is not one I picked up a ton, so I was kind of curious about it more. Next one I picked up solely because of the color scheme on the cover again, The Only Survivors by Megan Miranda. It is, I kind of like this pink to orange purpley ombre it's going on, but also it kind of picked again, it's like that isolated setting with them trying to survive. It reminds me of a horror movie, and I really enjoy watching horror movies like that, so I kind of figured I would probably like this one as well. Next, I have November of 23's pick. I really, like, looking back on when I picked this out, I really did not think it was this long ago, like a whole year ago that I picked this one out, but it is. I picked this one up because it was a fantasy book, and I obviously don't pick too many fantasy books from Book of the Month, but I really do enjoy fantasy as a genre, so I thought, why not go ahead and try it out. I'm pretty sure this one is more of like an Egyptian mythology, which I have been a lot more into. It mentions Cairo in this one, so that's kind of what picked me up. I like mythology, but I've been always more into the Greek and Roman mythologies, so I do want to read a little bit something, you know, kind of in my realm, but a little outside of what I normally read there. Next one we have is a highly contested Riley Sager book, but I picked this up solely because it was Riley Sager. I own most of Riley Sager's books. There's like one or two that I haven't got, like the newest ones, but the ones I've read by Riley Sager I've liked. I even liked Final Girls. It's definitely not his best work, okay? Final Girls is not the best one, but for that being, I think that was it was either his debut or like his second book, I can't remember. Either way, for it being one of the first two books he's written, it really isn't that bad when you consider, like, hey, you know, you just really getting into this whole publishing thing. I didn't mind it at all. So that's solely the reason I picked this one up, it was Riley Sager. Next we have another book of the year. I have not read a single book of the year since I've started Book of the Month subscription back in 21, but this one's by Abby Jimenez, yours truly. I ended up reading Part of Your World earlier this year and loved it. So I've heard a lot of good things. So I picked it up again because I've heard so many good things about Abby's books that I just wanted to read another one. Like, I wanted to have another one on my shelf. So here we are with another one. And I like this little dog on the cover because you can never go wrong when one of the characters has a dog, okay? And this is the 2024 stack. I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know if I've actually read a single book for my 2024 Book of the Month subscriptions. I honestly couldn't tell you. So I guess we'll find out, because, you know, they're all listed with the months on them. So I guess we'll see if we're missing a month, because I've never skipped a box, but again, I don't really I don't know if I've actually read any. So the first one was it was First Line Wins that I got back in January. I picked this one because there was a lot of like buzz around it, and again, it's popping up again because it is one of the choices in the Goodreads Choice Awards this year. So I think I may try to prioritize this one yet this year if I can get through my autumn TBR, because it is up for a potential award here. Then I have Heartless Hunter, which was February's book. I meant to get to this one earlier this year. I tried to join, but I root for it and literally just never picked it up because I never had time to get to it. But again, this is because it is a fantasy, and I don't pick too many fantasy from Book of the Month. So I did try to get a few, and because this one is like a first in the series, I figured this would be a good one to start with, because I'm not a big fan of standalone fantasy. I feel like fantasy is written better as a series. So, but this is book one, so I kind of figured, you know, why not try to get in and see if I like it. And then we do have Marches here, which I've got simply because it said listen for the lie, and it kind of gave me like a podcast element vibe just by saying that. And my hunch based off the title was correct, because this does mention podcasts in it, and I do like books that have a podcast element to them. One of the other ones I got from Book of the Month was The Night Swim. I got The Night Swim, which also had a podcast element from Book of the Month, and I really, really liked it. And there has been other ones since then that I've read with like a podcast element to it that I really enjoy, so I figured I would enjoy this one. How to End a Love Story, which was April's book. I picked this one up because I don't have too many books with a pink cover for one, but also it kind of has the romance trope that I like, where, you know, people, they're like, oh my god, we're not gonna date, but then they end up dating. Like, I love that like little bit of hard to get, but like not too much. Like, I don't want too much of a slow burn, guys. So that's really kind of why I picked it up. It kind of reminded me, when I picked this one up, I was reading the Charm Offensive, and it kind of gave me similar vibes, and I was like, you know what, I kind of want another one. Or like, I was also reading at the same time of If the Shoe Fits. I was reading that one around the same time too, and it kind of gave me like similar vibes to that, so I was like, I need to get one like this too. Then this is a May 2024 book, another fantasy, but I got this one because Five Broken Blades, it sounded like it was going to be an epic start to a fantasy series, and honestly, I just saw the cover for the second one on Amazon the other day, and it is stunning. I like added it to my wish list. I'm trying to cut back on how many books I'm buying, because like obviously I have so many books to read. Like, these are just my Book of the Month ones, not everything that's behind me or like in my bedroom over there. So I've been trying to narrow it down so I didn't get the next one. This one's quite a bit of a chunker. Like, as I was getting these books out, I realized I picked out some chonkers for 2024. So I kind of need to get to these because these are chunky books. This is also a May of 2024 pick. I couldn't decide between the two, so I was like, you know what, I hardly ever do an add-on. So I love Christina Lauren's books, so I was like, I'm gonna get The Paradise Problem, because I know Christina Lauren is pretty much a guaranteed win. There's only been like one book I was kind of iffy on, but otherwise I loved Christina Lauren's books, and I figured I couldn't go wrong with this one. Then we have June's Book of the Month here, and I didn't realize this one is like quite thin. I feel like even compared to like a standard book, it feels quite small. And you know what, flipping through this, it is under 300 pages, I'm pretty sure. Yep, it is. So that's probably why it feels so small. This is like a nice short little book, and I'm kind of excited to get to that one. Why I picked this one? Because I read one other Peter Swanson book and I kind of liked it. Also, No Murder is by the book. I don't know, this like little snippet there on the cover kind of caught my attention. House of Glass was July's pick. I picked this one up because it kind of gave me vibes similar to like Hidden Pictures, and I really like that one. And I kind of want to, like, you know, there's the like perfectionist of like, here's this perfect family and something is going wrong in it. I kind of like that vibe. So again, that's why I picked that one up. Then we have Hera, which is by Jennifer Saint. I picked this one up totally because I loved Jennifer Saint's other books that I've read. I think I own all but one of them. I don't think I have the first two. I don't think I have her. Is this the third one? I don't even know her. I don't know, but I think I'm missing one Jennifer Saint book, and I can't remember what the title of it is at the current moment. But I like loved her writing. I loved her debut, so I was like, I need to get this one. Then I got Sleep Tight for September, and because it was September is my birthday month, I also got a second book, which I got Phantasma for that one. I am currently in the process of reading Phantasma, so I'm not going to include it in here, but I got Sleep Tight as my other book, and I picked this one up because it was a horror vibe. I don't pick up too many horror books that are not Stephen King, so that's kind of what intrigued me to pick this one up. It was horror, and I was like, you know, I mean, like the snippet here, the sole survivor of a serial killer, like, even without knowing the full sentence, like, that is a catchy sentence. Then we're gonna get to October's pick. Again, a chunky one for some reason, but I picked The Dagger in the Flame, and I'm not gonna lie, this one solely got picked off of a poll I posted in a Books Reality. I just like posted an emoji for each book that I would like remember, jog my memory for, and was like, hey, help me pick a book. And this is what got picked, because I really didn't know what I wanted. But even on the back cover, I mean, it's not like I wasn't gonna be intrigued. It says, in a deadly game of revenge, the most dangerous mistake of all is falling in love. This was kind of gave me fantasy romance vibes, and I was like, you know, I could go for that. I do like fantasy romance. And we're at our last one. Again, honestly, this was November's pick. I couldn't remember what I picked out, but another chunky one, and I got The Road of Bones, and this is a book one in a series, so that's kind of why I picked this one up. I don't like to necessarily buy like book twos or anything if I haven't read book one, and because I don't know, I just wouldn't want to do that. But this is another fantasy romance, and that's kind of what sparked my attention to go ahead and grab this one. Overall, I knew at the beginning, I was like, hey, I picked this one because of fantasy, and at this point I think I'm just like picking the fantasy books because I'm just like in such a fantasy mood, especially if it's a fantasy romance. Like, that is the vibe I want, and it kind of makes sense because I do like to go into a fantasy romance vibe, or even just like a fantasy vibe mostly once we start getting into the colder months. I don't know why fantasy just like pops out to me, and then in the spring I switch over to like the romance, and then the summery fall time I start to go into my little mystery thriller vibes. But thank you for joining. Obviously December's picks are not out yet, but that will obviously get added to the list, and I'm hoping this keeps me accountable to start reading some of these books and sharing that journey with you guys. See you next time.